So if we go down and check this out on the 4-hour, this might give you an opportunity to say to yourself, okay, well, a breakout of this zone here might lead you to having more of a push up into that structure there, maybe up into the 77s, okay? 77s being this level here. All right, so if we can break outside of this zone, we'll definitely run back up into this next key level here, which is the high of this consolidation. And then you're just hoping that you can get a breakout of the high of the consolidation if you want to keep this thing moving. If we look at it from, again, the high, this is a low on this fib, we really haven't even came up into that 38.2. You know, so that's what I'm saying. If we could run up into this 38.2, maybe potentially even run up into this 50% retracement level, that's a pretty decent sized move. And it looks somewhat the same, right, on this NZD-USD. NZD-USD worked out pretty well last week because you had a different kind of structure. And this structure led you to get a decent entry, right? It gave you an earlier entry because you had this massive consolidation down here at this low. Well, markets were looking actually like this in the beginning of the week, right? So if we pull over here, markets were looking like this, okay? So this is what we had in the beginning of the week. We thought, again, nice consolidation down here at the lowest structure. This is what we drew up, saying, hey, maybe markets could push down into this structure and then push back up in, and that's what we got, right? So you had a little bit of a whip flash that happened, right? You had markets kind of shorted down a little bit right here, but not too much. You actually never really came back to the entry, and now you're pushing out towards that 61.8. So again, same move, just a different structure, and that different structure gave you a different trading opportunity, and that's why structure matters so much. You kind of have to look and understand and identify these structures, and these structures are going to give you a good probable trade opportunity, or if they're just unrecognizable and you really don't know how to play them, then it's probably going to give you a bad opportunity as well. So again, maybe you see a continuation here on this NZDU. We are dealing with markets being somewhat at a structural high. We're going to need to break out of these 69 mids, 69.50s, basically to the 69 lows. We're going to need to break out of that level to get a continuation over there. But what I really like a lot is this USD CAD for right now. USD CAD looks good. Now, if you want to look at this GBP USD, I know that's one of our three, but man, GBP USD is just, it's very, 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 just, I don't know what you would coin it as. It's just whipping all over the place, right? So if we pull over to the daily structure here, you guys will notice that the thing's pretty ugly. It's pretty ugly. So you had all this consolidation, and then you just have markets just running. You never really got a solid entry unless you took this break here outside of this structure there, right? So you had a little bit of a ceiling. You could have taken a break out of that structural low, or you were buying down here at this low there, okay? So other than that, you really would have been hard-pressed to buy into this euro. You probably wouldn't have wanted to buy at the 33 flats. If you did, you'd be up 70 points, but just to buy the 33 flats, knowing that you just missed this move from the 32 flats, I would have felt pretty bad about that, so I probably wouldn't want to put any kind of size on the position. And so now you can see markets just kind of running up there, right? So let's take a look at this GBP JPY. I know that's something that folks like to play a bit. GBP JPY doing the same thing we were seeing last week, man. Look how consolidated this thing is. We're looking at markets wedging, and as you guys can see, this market is still somewhat wedging. And what if we get a break here, right? So what if we get a break of this overall TL? That's something I was looking at earlier. If we get a break right here at this TL, then boom, might be able to take a run back up into structure. Okay, so that's something else we're looking at. Now, obviously, you might get markets to not be able to hold this level. I mean, you know, and that's something else there. If you get markets to potentially break down outside of this level, well, you might get an overall just pullback from this massive extension higher that you really haven't gotten yet, right? So this looks like markets came down to the 38.2 and kind of just sustained there. Well, if you get a break of that 38.2, then here we go, 38.2. If you get a break of this, then you could probably run down to the 50, down to that 61.8. So interesting. You got to pick a side, right? You got to pick a side. Whether you think that the pound is just going to keep getting stronger and it's a good time to buy, well, then again, it'd be a great time to buy on this GBP JPY because you're at the low of structure here. Or if you think the JPY is going to gather some strength and you're looking into maybe some of the economics or some of the structures on this GBP, you think it's going to get weaker, then it'd be a great time to potentially look to start selling this GBP JPY off once the market breaks this structural low. Now, for me, I'm going to do a little bit more research. I'm going to check it out, but on the intraday play, it looks like you might get a spike outside of this level here, right? You might get a spike outside of this trend line because it's just wedging so tight. If you get a spike outside of that trend line, maybe you could take that spike up into the 49.60s, up into the basically the 49.60s, maybe up into the $1.50s. I mean the 150s. Okay, so that is what I'm looking at. I'm thinking that we're going to get some pound strength, and I would love to potentially take a break of this CTL up into this structure and just kind of have that thing keep running. And obviously, if we don't get any pound strength, then again, we may look to see markets short. But, you know, again, I like to pick one side, and that's the side that I somewhat want to play. All right, so looking at the Euro NZD, take a last look at that. This one was also looking fairly parabolic. Again, Euro just kind of running a bit. I was looking at this Euro NZD because if we could break this structure here, I would love to see a short. But, you know, we're having a hard time, you know, pulling back on this Euro right now. Maybe we've just kind of come in at this high and we've somewhat met a high, and now markets are going to pull back into the structure and we're going to crack all the way back down. That's what I'm looking for. So those are the ones that are on my radar right now. US CAD looks great for a short opportunity. That GBP JPY is wedging a bit there, right? So you could probably catch that GBP JPY. Take a look down here at the bottom row. Crack down here on the GBP JPY. I like the fact that it's wedging a bit. Euro NZD, if this Euro can lose some steam a bit, you could play that over here on the Euro U, or you could play that over here on the Euro NZD where you already have that structural low. You take a break down into this previous structure there. You're still waiting on that structural formation to kind of form here on this Euro USD a bit, okay? So that's what you could play. And then obviously the US CAD. Let's take a look at this US CAD for one last time. And again, if this US weakness just keeps preluding, check this out. I mean, you have markets holding these highs here. You could definitely have a breakdown into the structure here on this 23.6. Okay, so got another 3 trade ideas. I like that. Sometimes on Mondays, we might have nothing, so I can't give you guys anything. But GBP JPY, let's see if we can get a break of this TL here up in the structure. US CAD would love a breakdown if this US weakness continues. Euro NZD would love a breakdown if this Euro weakness prevails. And Euro U, again, if this Euro weakness does prevail and it kind of just needs to settle down a bit, and we do get some US strength, then we may be able to take this Euro U pullback back down into structure. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at, guys. Let me know if you got any questions. If I need to clarify anything, just throw it down in the comment section below. Again, like the video for your boy, folks. Make sure you're subscribed so you get all the videos out as soon as possible. And guys, your profit, always my motive. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Let's see what we get. Peace.